The Democrats are a centrist liberal party. They support Israel. They support predatory capitalism. They are woke. What does wokeness have to do with the left wing? Absolutely nothing. Were the French revolutionaries, the ultimate leftists, woke? They were the exact opposite. They were brutal, and they had to be. The left, the real left, is absolutely anti-woke. The left, the real left, detests predatory capitalism. The left, the real left, detests bourgeois individualists. The left, the real left, supports the general will of the collective, not the particular will of extreme individualists. Go read The Social Contract by Jean-Jacques Rousseau, the seminal text of the French Revolution. Here's how that book begins. Man is born free, and everywhere he is in chains. Here's one who thinks he is the master of others, yet he is more enslaved than they are. How did this change come about? I don't know. What can make it legitimate? That's a question that I think I can answer. If I took into account nothing but force and what can be done by force, I would say, as long as a people is constrained to obey, it does well to obey. As soon as it can shake off the yoke, it does even better to shake it off. If its right to do so is challenged, it can answer that. It gets its liberty back by the same right, namely, force, that took it away in the first place. Any justification for taking it away equally justifies taking it back. And if there was no justification for its being taken away, no justification for taking it back is called for. But the social order isn't to be understood in terms of force. It is a sacred right on which all other rights are based. But it doesn't come from nature, so it must be based on agreements. In his discourse on the origin of inequality, Rousseau said, "The first man who, having enclosed a piece of ground, bethought himself of saying, 'This is mine,' and found people simple enough to believe him, was the real founder of civil society. From how many crimes, wars and murders, from how many horrors and misfortunes might not anyone have saved mankind, by pulling up the stakes, or filling up the ditch, and crying to his fellows, 'Beware of listening to this impostor. You are undone if you once forget that the fruits of the earth belong to us all, and the earth itself to nobody.'" You couldn't get an idea more alien to the American Democratic Party, a woke, anti-working class party. America has never had a left-wing tradition, which is why it calls decadent, woke, bourgeois capitalists, Marxists. If Americans knew the first thing about left-wing politics, they would know that the left has never existed in the USA. Never. Americans would faint on the spot if they ever encountered real leftists, such as the Jacobins of the French Revolution, led by Robespierre and Saint-Just. The idea that American Democrats have anything at all in common with the likes of the Jacobins is comedy gold. Here's the kind of thing that Saint-Just said: "Those who make revolutions by halves do nothing but dig their own tombs. A nation regenerates itself only upon heaps of corpses. I have not found a single good man in government. I have found good only in the people. One cannot reign innocently. The insanity of doing so is evident. Every king is a rebel and a usurper." It has always seemed to me that the social order was implicit in the very nature of things, and required nothing more from the human spirit than care in arranging the various elements, that a people could be governed without being made thralls or libertines or victims thereby. That man was born for peace and liberty, and became miserable and cruel only through the action of insidious and oppressive laws. And I believe therefore that if man be given laws which harmonize with the dictates of nature and of his heart, he will cease to be unhappy and corrupt. The revolution is frozen. All its principles are weakened. There remains only red caps worn by intriguers. The exercise of terror has made crime blasé, as strong liquors made the palace blasé. What produces the general good is always terrible or seems bizarre when begun too soon. In every revolution, a dictator is needed to save the state by force, or censors to save it by virtue. Citizens, by what illusion could one persuade himself that you are inhuman? Your revolutionary tribunal has condemned 300 rascals to death in a year. Has not the Spanish Inquisition done worse than that? Have the English assizes butchered no one in that period? What of the kings of Europe? Does anyone prate to them of pity? Ah, do not allow yourselves to grow soft-hearted, dare. This word contains all the politics of our revolution. You would never catch Kamala Harris saying a single thing like that. Or indeed any American politician ever. It's impossible for such words to come out of their mouths. They have no left-wing vocabulary. They don't know how to formulate left-wing ideas. That's why they keep confusing liberalism for leftism. They are totally different things. America never discovered what left-wing politics is. Leftism is about the people, not about individualism. It's about the good of the collective, not about a handful of people becoming obscenely wealthy, or free to do whatever they want because they belong to exotic woke minorities. It's about people learning to cooperate with others. It's about people doing what is best for the collective, not about what is best for themselves, their family or their faith. That's what it means to be subject to Rousseau's general will, the supreme antidote to tyranny, the exercise of the particular will. The left-wing vision is the opposite of the American dream. The American dream is all about a few individuals becoming disgustingly wealthy. Left-wing politics is about a country becoming fair to everyone in the country, and that automatically excludes the insane excesses of American predatory capitalism. The woke destroyed the Democratic Party. The woke were never left-wing. They were always bourgeois and right-wing. When have you ever heard the woke demanding the end of predatory capitalism? Most of them are influencers on YouTube, constantly begging for super chats. They regard the general will as fascism. They have no clue what it means to be on the side of the people.